Are you struggling to find the time to study English? Do you want to learn how to make time to learn English with a full-time job? The first step is to realize that language learning is all about consistency and making sure you turn up and do something in that language every single day without fail. So, my first tip is to identify your priority. Before you decide to commit to learning English, the first thing you need to do is to really take a moment and think about what is most important to you. Understanding and organizing your priorities is the first key step towards achieving your English goals. If becoming a proficient and confident user of English is high on your list, maybe you need it for a job or for school or university or just to make it easier to communicate while traveling, then it's time to make some thoughtful decisions about how to make time in your day committed for English and improving it. This might involve reorganizing your daily routine to allow for dedicated English learning time. So, to achieve this, you need to consider adjusting your schedule by reducing the time spent on less important or productive activities during your day. You can think of it as making space and time in your busy day for something that's very, very important to you and possibly your career. But remember, by recognizing and acting on your priorities, you're setting yourself up for success in your English learning journey. My next tip is to evaluate your schedule. Once you've identified English is a priority for you and something that you want to make time for, the next step is to create a schedule that fits into your routine. By doing so, you're making a plan that ensures you set aside specific moments in time for practicing and improving your English. What you want to do first is to take a look at your daily and weekly schedule. Once you've done that, identify periods of time where you're not doing something super productive, or is what I like to call dead time. That is, periods of time that you're not doing anything super productive or important. This could be time that you're scrolling on social media on your phone or when you're driving to work. All of these times you can include studying English. Once you understand your schedule, identify the periods of time that you're most productive. So if you're a morning person, maybe you could spend 15 minutes in the morning writing something in English, or in the evening you could write about your day or record yourself talking in English. What you want to do is really take advantage of those periods of the day where you're feeling clear-headed and motivated. Once you've evaluated and understand which periods of your busy day are free, then use that time for improving and working on your English skills. My next tip is practice English every day you eat. We all know in order to get better at something, you need to do it every single day. For example, like learning a new instrument or playing a new sport. Similar to music, language requires constant practice, daily practice in fact, as research shows that consistent habits contribute to bigger successes in your goals. However, unless you have a lot of free time and someone to constantly encourage you to continue doing it, it can be very difficult to maintain the daily habit of practicing English. After a long day at work, sometimes the last thing you want to do is study English. And even if you have the motivation, the best prepared language plans usually get pushed aside when something more important comes up for you. Why do these things happen? Why do we push aside our English language goals even though it's very important for us? It's because time and motivation make us decide, and in those decisions, continuing to learn English takes a back seat and your brain doesn't consider it as important. So what can we do here? How can we make practicing English easier for us to continue? Well, here's a simple solution. Let's cut down the number of decisions you need to make in order to practice English. What do I mean by that? The more you can reduce the number of times you have to make a decision whether to spend your limited time on studying English rather than something else, the more you will actually spend time on the language and integrate it into your daily life. So how can we do that? We can do that by setting achievable goals. This simple tip is essential for maintaining your motivation and for making continuous progress in English. Start by setting small, realistic goals, such as learning 5 words a day, practicing a grammar exercise for 10, or even trying to listen to a 10-minute video in English. Once you've achieved these goals, gradually increase the difficulty level or the amount of time spent on studying English. Instead of trying to find an hour in your busy day to learn English, try and break it up into smaller, more manageable tasks so you feel more accomplished, less overwhelmed, and more motivated. Here are some tips you can try at home for improving your English this way. Spend 15 minutes every day learning or doing something in English, and then increase it by a minute or 2 the next day. You can also try learning 1 or 2 phrases in English every day and every week, and once this becomes easy for you, try and increase it. You can also try watching a 5-minute video in English. Do that every day for a week, and the next week increase it to a 10-minute video. By the way, if you're enjoying the tips so far and want more videos like this, make sure to smash that like button so I know whether to make more lessons in the future. Alright, back to the video. The next tip is use micro immersion. But what are micro immersions, you might be asking? Well, they are small intentional activities or practices designed to immerse oneself in their target language without needing to be physically present in the country where the language is spoken. These activities are usually incorporated into your daily routine and habits, providing you with a consistent and daily exposure to the language, in this case English, in various contexts. Micro immersions really help us immerse ourselves in our target language without having to set aside a specific block of time in order to study. Some things you can do to practice micro immersions are setting your phone into English instead of your native language. We all know where the buttons are anyway. And given most of us look at our phones a few dozen times a day, by switching the language to English, you'll very quickly get a lot of vocabulary, repetition, and as I've mentioned in previous videos, repetition is the key to building your vocabulary quickly and really helping your brain remember those difficult words. Another thing you can do is to write your to-do list in English. This is something that we may take for granted and do every day in our native language, but by doing it in English instead of our native language, you will open up an entire new world of vocabulary you might not have been exposed to had you kept focusing on the vocabulary you learn during conversations or in movies and books. Very often when we learn a new language and go to a foreign country, it's the words that we use on a daily basis in our native language and that we never thought we would need in our target language are the words that trip us up and give us a lot of headaches. Plus, as a bonus, the vocabulary you'll learn in your to-do lists are often very practical and are words that you're likely to use on a daily basis and therefore more likely to use them regularly in English. Before I get back to the video, but really quickly guys, I just wanted to say if you're enjoying this content and you want to implement these same strategies into your daily life but don't know how, or maybe you've tried in the past but you've always failed to keep it up, then you can apply to work with me personally inside of my online English coaching program, which will help you go from super frustrated and limited to super confident and fluent, so you can take advantage of all the opportunities English offers. So click the link in the description to fill out a quick application and you'll have a free consultation call to see how I can help you. So click the link in the description to book that call and finally learn how to speak the type of English you've always dreamed of. Now with that out of the way, let's get back to the video. My next tip is to use your commute. Many of us spend a lot of time commuting to work or school. This can be taking the bus, walking there, driving there, and this time is often wasted listening to music. So what you need to do is instead use this time to your advantage by listening to content in English rather than your native language. So you can listen to podcasts, audiobooks, and even music. If you're in your car by yourself, you can use that time to practice speaking English to yourself and having a mock conversation, or just describing what you see around you. If you feel too self-conscious speaking English aloud in public, pull out your phone and pretend to have a conversation on your phone when you're actually practicing speaking English by yourself. You can also bring with you a list of words and phrases you're trying to remember and repeat those words and phrases out loud. This is particularly useful if you're someone who wants to expand their vocabulary, because research shows that people remember new pieces of information being spoken in their own voice rather than being spoken by another person. So by talking out loud, not only are you improving your listening comprehension, your pronunciation, and your speaking skills, but you're also building your vocabulary. So, to make use of your commute time and you want to listen to something in English, it's important to find resources that are interesting and engaging. Look for podcasts or audiobooks on topics that you enjoy, such as the news, history. This will help you stay motivated and engaged in what you're listening to, even when you're distracted walking to work or taking the bus to school. My next tip is to set your YouTube feeds from your native language into English. So many of us spend so much time on YouTube, whether you like to admit it or not. Whether it's to watch a music video or just when you're bored and want to watch something funny. More than likely, you watch YouTube every day. And the best thing about YouTube is whether we're looking for something to entertain us or how to fix something, YouTube has it all. That also means YouTube is the perfect place to find content in English and increase the amount of time you're exposing yourself to English without needing to change your busy routine at all. If you worry about not understanding what the native speaker is saying, then you can always play the video with subtitles on, or slow it down and repeat a section of the video that you didn't understand. The best thing about YouTube videos is that they are short. You don't have to spend 45 minutes to finish an episode of your favorite TV show or try and find 2 hours to watch a film in English. Instead, you can spend 5 minutes watching a news clip or a funny video in English that you would have already watched in your native language. And the best thing about it is that YouTube videos vary in both topic and length. So if you have a little bit more time, then you can watch a video that's slightly longer than 5 minutes. Or if you're watching a very long video, there's always the option to save to your watch later playlist and continue watching it at another time. If you're someone who gets bored easily, another great feature about YouTube is that you can be surprised. By enabling push notifications from YouTube, you can be alerted of new videos several times a day. And more importantly, avoid that time that we've all been guilty of scrolling through YouTube trying to find something to watch instead of actually watching a video and immersing. So by having the notifications on, whenever you have 5 or 10 minutes, you'll have a selection of videos from your subscriptions that you can quickly watch and avoid having to waste time scrolling through your feed trying to find a video that you find interesting. Moving on to my next tip, and that is incorporate English into your daily routine. This is a great way to make learning English a habit, or that is something that you can do automatically without thinking. Instead of having your phone, computer, or iPad in your native language, try switching it to English. Try reading news articles or books in English instead of your native language, or watch TV shows and movies in English. All these things will help you improve your vocabulary, grammar, and listening skills. Plus, it's a really fun way to learn, much more enjoyable than sitting down for an hour reviewing grammar rules or doing grammar exercises. To make the most of your daily routine, it's important to find resources that are accessible and more importantly, enjoyable to you. So make sure to search for English content that is relevant to your interests and hobbies that you do in your native language. Forcing yourself to read the news when you don't do it in your native language will just make you want to give up and not spend as much time doing it. So really try and read about or watch videos of topics that you find enjoyable. This will really help you stay motivated and engaged for a longer period of time, even when you're super busy. So here are some things you can do to make English an important part of your daily routine. First thing, create a morning routine in English. Start your day by thinking, speaking, or even journaling in English. Describe your plans for that day and express your thoughts using the language. Secondly, make reading in English a habit. When you have a period of time that you're waiting for someone, taking the bus, or when you would normally be scrolling on social media, instead, make use of that time by reading a portion of a book, article at a set time each day. Even if it's just for 5-10 minutes, doing this consistently will really help improve your vocabulary and reading comprehension in English. Here's the tip. Try downloading a translation app like Word Reference to your phone so you can easily look up any new vocabulary that might appear in a video or in an article that you're reading. Best thing about Word Reference is that it automatically saves a list of words that you've searched for recently. This is great because then you'll be able to go back and review those words that you had trouble with later. Another thing you can do is to listen to music or podcasts. While playing music might not feel like studying, by listening to music in English, you're still being exposed to the language, which will help you greatly in improving many of the key skills I've already talked about. The best thing about podcasts and music is that you can listen to them while doing anything, commuting, getting ready for work or school, doing household chores. By listening to these, you'll be exposing yourself to new vocabulary and more informal expressions that you can incorporate into your own vocabulary in English. Another thing you want to do is to download a flashcard app on your phone or mobile device. This will allow you to practice words you have trouble with anywhere and for any amount of time. So even if you have 30 seconds or minutes before a friend arrives, it's still enough time to review a handful of words. Some tips when building your flashcard deck is, instead of creating flashcards with only the words in English and the translation on the back, try and create flashcards with full sentences, which will give your brain context and help you remember them faster. Also, try organizing your decks based on themes such as food, travel, your daily routine. This will really help you focus on learning particular words based on a category. This will really help you master words on topics that you're having trouble expressing when you're talking or listening. And also remember not only to include words, but also phrases and expressions you hear or read in English. Oftentimes, there are many expressions and phrases that, divided into individual parts, won't make sense to you. So it's important to learn the meaning of the expression with all the words together. Not only will this improve your listening comprehension, but also make you sound more natural by using a more native-like expression instead of explaining it using individual words. Here's a bonus tip. Make use of 2-for-1 activity. Brainstorm a list of tasks where your hands are occupied but your brain is on autopilot. That's to say, what you're doing doesn't require you to think too much. Think of activities like folding, laundry, driving, stretching, or taking a shower. All activities that don't require you to think too much. During these periods of time, use them to plug in a podcast or practice speaking English out loud. Even a few minutes in an elevator is enough time to practice a bit of your English pronunciation. Tell me your thoughts. Are there any other methods you use for improving your English when you're busy? I and other English learners would love to hear your ideas. Also, if you want my personalized help in improving your English faster and more effectively, then consider applying for my online coaching program. If you want more accountability and you want the actual English transformation, that we provide inside of it, then we can have a chat and see how I can help you go from limited and frustrated to super confident and fluent in English, so you can capitalize on English opportunities coming your way. So if that's something that you're interested in, book a free consultation call below, link in the description and first pinned comment to see whether you're a fit for the program. Now you know how to make time for learning English. Now it's time to learn the best methods for learning English and becoming fluent this year. So watch this video here for my guide for becoming fluent in English this year. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for my YouTube channel for free lessons, and if you've enjoyed this video, please smash that like button, and I'll see you in the next lesson. Bye!